Hello everyone, today we will be discussing a new topic of the chapter conic section, and that topic is hyperbola. Now what is a hyperbola? Already we have seen what is the figure of the hyperbola. Now in detail what we will see, what is that hyperbola. Okay, so it is the set of all those points, the difference of whose distances from the two fixed points is a constant. That means we have taken a figure in which you have two fixed points. These are the two fixed points f1 and f2, and from those points we are taking certain points which have their difference from these 2 points as a constant. That is, if I consider p1 as a point, then p1 f2. Now why I am taking p1 f2 first is because it is lengthier, so bigger length minus the smaller one, that's all. Okay, so p1 f2 minus p1 f1 will give you a constant. So that point will be a type of this, that is, it will be a constant. Again we are taking another point, and that should also maintain the same property. What is that property? That is p2 f2 minus p2 f1 should be a constant, the same constant. Again going to another, so like this, when we get collection of points, joining those points which satisfy this condition will give you the shape of a hyperbola. Okay, now again we are taking another point p3. Here this length is bigger, so I am taking p3 f1 minus p3 f2, but it should give you the same constant. So the locus of all those points which have this property, that is the difference of their distances from the two fixed points f1 and f2, is the constant. Those set of points will give you hyperbola. Okay, now I have drawn these two fixed points, they are known as focus. The two fixed points are focus. So you have two, that means I will generally I will say that they are the foci of the hyperbola. Now the midpoint joining the line of f1 and f2, that is, it is passing through this line, and this is known as the center. So center is the midpoint of the line joining f1 and f2. This is the center of the hyperbola. Okay, next thing is the line which is passing through f1 and f2, that is the foci, and through the center. This line is called the transverse axis. As in the case of ellipse where we have major axis, here in the case of hyperbola you have transverse axis. Okay, and that major axis is also passing through the foci, you remember. Now there is another line, you can just see, and this line is actually perpendicular to the transverse axis, and it is passing through the center, perpendicular to the transverse axis and passing through the center, and that line is known as conjugate axis. Okay, so foci, center, transverse axis, conjugate axis. Now you can just see this hyperbola is touching the transverse axis only at one point, right? So that point is called the vertex of the hyperbola. So here you can see two vertices. Okay, so hyperbola has two vertices, as in the case of ellipse, again two foci, then it has a center and transverse axis, this one, and this one, in the sense it is passing through the focus. Whichever is passing through the focus, that shape will give you the transverse axis. Okay, so here this shape, here you have the focus, so it is a transverse axis. Now you have another type also that we will discuss later. So these terms are clear, I think. You have foci, then conjugate axis, transverse axis, center, and vertices of the hyperbola. Now we will denote the distance between the two foci, that is f1 and f2, as 2c, and the distance between the vertices as 2a. And this distance, that is AB, distance between the two vertices, will be same as the length of the transverse axis. Now again we are just defining B as root of c square minus a square. You can just see that the hyperbola is not touching anywhere on this conjugate axis. So in order to find out what is the length of the conjugate axis, we should have something. For that we are just defining b as root of c square minus a square, because here you can just see that the length c is bigger than the length a. So we are taking b as root of c square minus a square, and 2b will give you the length of the conjugate axis. So 2a is length of transverse axis, 2b is length of conjugate axis, and 2c is the distance between the foci. Now next we will find out what is that constant. We have already seen that the hyperbola's definition says that if you have any point, that point should satisfy the condition that Pf2 minus Pf1 should be a constant. Now what is that constant? That we are finding out here. Okay, so to find the constant, let P be any point, then we will say Pf2 minus Pf1 should be a constant, right? Now in order to find out that constant, what we are doing is, see, in any point on the hyperbola should satisfy this condition. So already we have a point A on the hyperbola and B on the hyperbola. So those 2 points A and B should also satisfy the same condition. So we are just replacing P with A and B. Okay, P is assumed as A and B, which are also lying on the same hyperbola. So they are satisfying the condition. That means that quantity using, instead of P as A and B should give you the constant. So both can be equated also, right? So what we will get, let A be any point on the hyperbola, then A F2, again difference means the bigger length minus the smaller. So I will take A F2 minus A F1 should be same as B F2, BF1 will be the lengthier one. So BF1 minus BF2. Correct? And this is by the definition of hyperbola. By the definition of hyperbola, we can write like this, because A and B are also points on the hyperbola. Now we are just finding out or replacing these values. Okay, what will be AF2? You just see AF2 is this much length. Now AB plus BF2 can be written as AF2. So we are replacing AF2 as AB plus BF2. Okay, AF2 can be written as AB plus BF2 minus AF1, no change. Again BF1 is this length, so we can write it as BA plus AF1, BA plus AF1 minus BF2 as such. We can see that AB is common both the sides, so you will get BF2 minus AF1 is equal to AF1 minus BF2. Or you can say, if this BF2 comes here, it becomes 2BF2 is equal to, this will go there as 2AF1, or BF2 is equal to AF1, right? Now we are starting, that is from this one, whether we will get the constant's value or not. We have got this one, we will use it. Okay, now if we are starting with BF1 minus BF2, which is same as BA plus AF1 minus BF2. This we have already written here. Okay. Now what we have got, AF1 is same as BF2. That means these two will get cancelled, or you can just replace the value so that you can cancel. BA plus AF1 can be written as BF2 minus BF2. These two get cancelled and you are getting this to be BA. Now what is BA? Just see, BA is 2A. So that constant is 2A. As in the case of ellipse, for ellipse also we are taking that constant to be 2A. Here also you are getting the constant to be 2A. Now what is eccentricity of a hyperbola? It is same as what we have studied in ellipse. For ellipse it was E is equal to C by A, this ratio, that is ratio between the from the center to one of the foci divided by from the center to one of the vertices. Okay, so the ratio between those two is the eccentricity for ellipse as well as here also. But the thing which is changing is, here the value of C is greater than A, that is the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So you can say that the value of eccentricity will be always greater than or equal to 1. But in the case of ellipse it was less than or equal to 1. Okay. So for hyperbola, E is equal to C by A, which is always greater than or equal to 1. Now from this, if the eccentricity is given, how will you find out the focus? From this, if you find out the focus, that is C will be AE, and this is also the same case as in ellipse. Okay. Now talking about the standard equation of hyperbola, you have two types of hyperbolas as the where the foci or the transverse axis lie. So you can see first one here, the transverse axis is on the x-axis, that is the foci is also on the x-axis, and in the second case the transverse axis will be the y-axis because the foci is lying on the y-axis. Now for the first case, you have this as the center. So these are the simplest form of the hyperbola where the center lies at the origin and the foci are lying on the x or y axis. Here in the x axis, there y axis. Okay. So now talking about the vertices and the foci, coordinates of these. This is center 0 0. Again it is the positive x axis. So here the coordinate of the foci will be c comma 0. Suppose this is your f1. This is f1, this is f2. So f2 and f1 are having the coordinates as c comma 0 and minus c comma 0. So this is in the negative axis, this is in the positive x axis. Now the vertices, if this is a and this is b, the coordinates of a and b will be a comma 0 and minus a comma 0. So this length will give you 2a and this total length f1 f2 will give you 2c. Okay. And the equation of the standard equation of this type of hyperbola is x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. So in your ellipse case, you have here positive sign. For your hyperbola, you have negative sign in between. Okay. And the second case is where the focus is lying on the y axis. So the coordinate of the foci will be 0 comma c and 0 comma minus c. The total length between the foci will be 2c again, and the vertices, coordinates of the vertices will be 0 comma a and 0 comma minus a. Again the distance between the vertices will be 2a itself. Okay, and the equation of this type of hyperbola is y square by a square minus x square by b square equal to 1. Now for a particular case, when you take a is equal to b in the equation of the hyperbola, x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1, what will happen? X square by a square minus y square by a square equal to 1, or x square minus y square equal to a square, and this is known as equilateral hyperbola. Okay, so when you have a equal to b, the hyperbola's name is equilateral hyperbola. Now again consider the equation of the hyperbola, that is x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1. We will get x square by a square is equal to 1 plus y square by b square. So we can say that it is greater than or equal to 1, right? Because this 1 plus a quantity which will be never positive, negative, because it is y square and b square. So x square by a square, you are getting it to be greater than or equal to 1. That implies that modulus of x by a is greater than or equal to 1, and the meaning of this is x is either greater than or equal to a, or x will be less than or equal to minus a. And this shows that the figure, when you say the hyperbola, x equal to a, the line passing through this point, and x equal to minus a line passing through this point. So in between these two lines there will not be any portion of the hyperbola. Okay, so in between x equal to a and x equal to minus a, you will not have any figure of the hyperbola, any portion of the hyperbola. That is, the meaning is there is no intercept on the conjugate axis. It is only touching on the transverse axis, no intercept on the conjugate axis, because no portion is there in between x equal to a and x equal to minus a. So certain observations which you are getting from the graph of the hyperbola is it is symmetric about the points, that is you can say that it's symmetric about the x and y axis. Why? Because if you take a point x comma y on the hyperbola, then x minus x comma y, minus x comma minus y, and x comma minus y all will be points on the hyperbola. That's why we say that the hyperbola is symmetric with respect to both the axes. the foci will always lie on the transverse axis. That is, here you can see on the x-axis the foci is lying, and this is acting as the transverse axis. And here in the second one you can see that the foci is on the y-axis, so that axis will be your transverse axis. For the first one the equation is this: x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1, and for the second one it is y square by a square minus x square by b square equal to 1. So you can just see that the positive term whichever is in the equation, so here this is the positive term, and this will give you that that positive term will give you that this will be the axis where the transverse axis is lying, or the where the foci is lying, okay, and that will be acting as the transverse axis. So here the x term is positive, that means you can say that the transverse axis is on the x-axis. And here for the second one you can see that y square by a square, this term is positive. So again the transverse axis will be on that axis where it is positive. So this is your y-axis. So this term will give you that y-axis should be the transverse axis where the foci is lying, okay. And the length of the transverse axis can be found out by the denominator of that positive term, okay. So from here you can find out what is a equal to. So 2a will give you the length of the transverse axis. And in the second case, here this term is positive, so this a square will give you again the value of a, and that will be, that is 2a will be the length of the transverse axis, okay. Now again latus rectum, which is same definition, having the same definition as that of ellipse, that is, it is a line segment which is passing through the foci and perpendicular to the transverse axis, and whose ends touches the hyperbola on its ends, that is, whose ends points are lying on the hyperbola, okay. So this is the latus rectum, which can be in either of the foci, both will have the same length. And what will be that length? This one, okay. So the length of the latus rectum again is same as that of ellipse. For ellipse it was 2b square by a, and for this, that is for hyperbola, also the length of the latus rectum is 2b square by a, okay.